Hello, and welcome to my Fiddlesticks guide. My name is BloodyWolf24. I play on the Yule realm and I'm from Belgium, which you might hear in my accent, so I don't have the best English performance when it comes to speaking, so please forgive me that. But let's move on to the guide. So, who is Fiddlesticks? Fiddlesticks is pretty much the only jungling mage, excluding some troll builds, like jungling Malphite. And when it comes to jungling, he is one of the most efficient ones as well, because he can heal himself, and once he gets a blue buff, he's pretty much unstoppable when it comes to jungling. He doesn't have downtime, he doesn't need to heal himself, he doesn't need to waste potions, and one giant benefit of Fiddlesticks is actually that he doesn't need any jungling items. I mean, his starting items is a Doran's Ring, or maybe an Amplifying Tomb if you wish to go a different build, but that's not really a jungling item, that's an average caster item. So you don't need a Madrid or anything like that to be able to jungle. And even though you don't have any jungling items, you can easily do Dragon at level 5 with level 3 Drain Life. So basically he is something different from all the other junglers. So what kind of fiddle will we be building? Well, with our masteries we take a standard 9-0-21 rune page, making sure to take smite and taking greed if you like it. If you don't, I like to take the reduced on dead timer, simply because it's a lot more scalable than some miserable 3% regeneration, which is like 3 HP or 3 mana every 100 HP or mana. Come on, that's just ridiculous. Waste of 3 talent points. And one thing I like to do is build red magic penetration and flat armor seals, but then we take flat magic ability power quints and flat ability power blues. The reason we do that is simply because along with Doran's Ring you get about 39 ability power when you start the game. That will greatly increase the damage on your Drain Life, making it makes sure you can kill all the creatures with just level 1 Drain Life, except Dragon of course, and yes, even blue buff and red buff should you wish to begin with those. Although I do suggest a rotation where you start with double golems, then raids, then wolves, blue buff, back to golems, red buff, raids, wolves, and of course you always have to look for opportunities to gank in between those mobs, because a jungler's job is to make sure that you gank the other lanes, make sure that your laners have full freedom to farm. They have to make sure that your enemy team does not wish to push the lane that much. Why? Because they could possibly gank by Fiddlesticks. One thing to note is that when you do blue buff, you actually have to have around twice the mana of your Drain Life, which the first time, if you follow my route, will be 90 mana each. So you need 180 mana, and that's when you can do blue buff. Basically what you do, you melee the big golem once, you Drain Life, you smite, and you do a Dark Wind, which will, that 50 mana will have regenerated during your 2 times that you did Drain Life, which is a rather fast golem kill. Let's discuss ganking positions. Before we begin, you have to consider a few things on Fiddlesticks. One is his ultimate. Does he have his ulti up? If not, you have to think twice about ganking. First off, is your fear enough as a crowd control? Will you be able to kill them before they kill you? Is your lane mate enough? Does he have enough damage? Does he have enough CC? And if it's possible to gank, here are a few tips. The red area is the visible view your enemy team has. Situation 1, you notice that the enemy team's side is blocked by the piece of rock Fiddlestick is standing at. It's also very possible to ulti over the piece of rock and surprise them. The same from the other side is possible as well. Usually when you get positions like this, you are most likely to get them killed. This is another handy trick. Basically you ulti over the wall and surprise them. This is a lot handy, especially when it's on your side of the turret, and or if it's on the enemy side. If they don't have a turret, this can be a real killer, cause it's a real surprise. One very important thing in this game is Dragon and Baron. Especially Dragon gives gold and Baron gives a neat damage increase. Now, the thing with Fiddle is, he is awesome when it comes to stealing those things. Basically, you just ulti in when Baron or Dragon is low HP, smite and flash out. Or, if you are dealing more than enough damage, kill the enemy team. Speaking about Dragon, when you do Dragon, there are a few things you need to take notice of. First off, if you're still level 5, you need blue buff to do Dragon. You need it for the mana regen, else you will lack at least 1 drain life mana cost, and not to mention you will run out of health because the Dragon does more damage than your drain life does without cooldown reduction from the blue buff. Also, go with your back against the wall so you're able to flash over it should someone come at you at low HP. You start with Doran's Ring. After that you get boots and Cage Lucky's pick, and of course a ward. After that you will upgrade it to Sorcerer's Boots or Merc Treads, depending on how the team is based. Then you get a Hextech Revolver that will give you Spell Vamp and increase the health regen from your drain life, and let not forget all your other skills. Are you getting beaten up? If so, get Hourglass first. If not, get that Cap. After that you just get the other item, you upgrade your Hextech Revolver into your Spell Vamp book, and last but not least, you build a Deadfire's Grasp. Why not get Deadfire's Grasp earlier? Fiddlesticks has a lot of skills to spam. You have your Fear, you also have your Dark Wind, and let's not forget your Drain Life. So basically after you did your ulti you need to think, am I going to do Dark Wind and will it silence everyone? Or am I going to fear someone? Or am I going to take damage and should I activate my Hourglass? After that you can consider Deadfire's Grasp. You could also consider doing ulti and then Deadfire's Grasp and then Fear and so on. But that only works if you're fighting against like 1 or 2 other champions and you need to get that kill. Else in team fights it's much more plausible to use your W and your E skill. Now my tutorial is almost over. I'm going to quickly show you how to counter jungle and what to think about when you counter jungle. One important thing when you counter jungle is that your team should have clairvoyance or wards everywhere. Early game it's not that easy to get wards everywhere, so clairvoyance is pretty much a must. There are a few things to consider while counter jungling. First off is the speed of your enemy jungler. Is it a gangplank, which is known to be rather slow? Well, sure, go ahead, take the raids. If it's an Udyr, don't try it, just do double golems and go back to your own jungle. Also, when walking from double golems to the raids, you have to be very careful of the open spot above you, or below you, depending which jungle you're in. Basically, look to your own allied minions. If your own allied minions are walking past that opener, don't walk past it. If the enemy team sees you on the minimap, they might come and check out what the hell is happening in their jungle. This about concludes the part where you stay alive. No, really, Fiddlesticks doesn't like living people. Anyhow, remember what I told you today and always think twice. Fiddlesticks is very squishy, but extremely powerful if played well. I hope you enjoyed my guide, and I hope you learned something from it. Thank you.